Hey there folks, welcome to this video. Here I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the United States Grand Prix. Round 19 of 21 in the season's Formula 1 World Championship, the Valtteri Bottas won by 4 seconds from teammate Lewis Hamilton, who sealed his 6th world title, with Max Verstappen finishing 3rd to round off the podium. With Leclerc in the lead, Ferrari in 4th, and Albon bringing it home in 5th, as Sebastian Vettel retired due to suspension failure very early on in the race. And I've already done a video talking about why it's a well-deserved title for Lewis. So you can go and check that out in the description below if you're coming over from that video. Thank you so much for the support. And yeah, to kind of reaffirm my thoughts, even though you do have to say it's still evidence of Mercedes dominating the turbo hybrid era by the fact that this is now their 6th double in succession. We've seen drives from Lewis this season, such as last time out in Mexico, but I think more so for me, a race like Hungary, that shows that he is definitely, if not the best, one of the best drivers out there at the moment. I mean, I'd also somewhat agree with Christian Horner's perspective that Max is the best driver out there, but I do think his form's taken a slump at the moment. Though, looking at this race in itself, you do have to say well done to a few drivers. Firstly, to Bottas and Verstappen for making what seemed to be an unfavourable two-stop strategy working. And this is the thing about F1, since Hamilton's drive in the Hungarian Grand Prix, we've seen teams more and more likely to take a kind of radical risk and splitting the strategies, putting some drivers onto a more radical two-stop and potentially keeping some on the more kind of conservative one-stop. But we're seeing less and less of all their drivers on a one-stop strategy, which is amazing. It's showing that there is actually a fair bit of competition in the sport at the moment. Now, you may argue that if it hadn't been for Magnussen's Haas being off at the end of the straight, that Verstappen would have finished P3, but even in that case, you'd still have to say that Lewis did a good drive to be able to hold on. You also have to say well done to Max for obeying the double waved yellows this time around. But outside of that, yeah, well done to Leclerc, especially when the car was seeming to not be doing too well. We saw what happened to Vettel. I would argue that what happened with Leclerc was largely more not being able to wake up the tyres, because we saw, even comparatively to Leclerc, Vettel was going slow. I'd argue the suspension issue had set in very early on. Then Albon's recovery from a early pit stop due to a collision with Leclerc and Sainz in turn 1. That shows that he's definitely a talent of the future. He is more than deserving of that Red Bull seat, in my opinion. And similarly for Sainz, in his 100th start, same as Max, to bring it home into a P8 finish after that collision, well done to him. You have to also remember statistically, it's I believe the 1000th F1 race, this is what Crofty was saying, to have a British driver in it. And it's the 150th podium for Lewis Hamilton, putting him, I believe, is it 5 behind Schumacher's overall tally. Of course, this isn't to overshadow the fact that Ricciardo finished 6th in the Renault, Lando finished 7th in the other McLaren, 9th place went to Hulkenberg, and 10th from a pit lane start, Sergio Perez. It would have been 9th had Kvyat not gone, full torpedo, and that actually generates another kind of talking point, which is the fact that this is happening more and more with Kvyat again. In the paddock pass, he was saying, oh, it's just my driving style, but last time he was talking about having an aggressive driving style and people not liking it was the time when he got himself demoted back to Toro Rosso and got Max promoted into Red Bull. So I think he has to be a bit mindful of that. This is the 2nd race in a row now where he's lost points because of a last lap lunge. But yeah, other than that, I really enjoyed the race. I thought it was a really good United States Grand Prix, and I'm looking forward to the final 2 races. The Brazilian Grand Prix in, 2 weeks' time? and then the finale in just under a month in Abu Dhabi. I hope you join me for those kinds of reviews and previews as well. If you want to stay in the loop, you can always hit the subscribe button because I do daily video uploads. If you hit the bell notification, you'll be notified of when I'm going to be streaming and when I'm going to be recording and uploading videos as well. I want to thank you so much for your support, especially in regards to Sunday's video, which I believe is my most viewed video now. And yeah, I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye for now.